Hey, it's Pastor Scott. We're finishing up talking about our discipleship process here at Oak Ridge. We're looking at the arrow there called invest. And again, we believe this is part of the discipleship process. As I mentioned in one of the videos, our four key words, grow, serve, share, and invest, are what we call umbrella words. There's so many things that fall under each one of these words. Every church will have its own, shall we say, visual of what their discipleship looks like. But ultimately, everybody wants to help people become more like Christ. That should be the ultimate goal, so that people will also see us living out God's love, as Christ said was the badge of discipleship in John 13. And that was that we show love for one another. But what about this word invest? You know, it's when you hear the word, obviously we always think of money, and that's one of those topics that sometimes causes people just a little bit of a heartburn when churches begin to talk about that. But there's more to it than just talking about our pocketbook. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 12, the Apostle Paul, writing to a group of Christians in the city of Thessalonica, said, "We exhorted each one of you and encouraged you and charged you to walk in a manner worthy of God, who calls you in to his own kingdom and glory." Paul invested in the lives of other people. So when we talk about investing, we're talking about investing in people's lives, taking time to minister to others, praying for somebody, maybe encouraging them from the Word of God, doing a Bible study with them. It's just investing in others, helping them to grow in their faith. And that can be done individually or as a group. When we talk about investing, we're talking about giving time to God's work. Oak Ridge is not a church that thinks that every single time the doors are open, you're expected to be here. We burn everybody out. What we encourage people to do when we talk about giving time is, for example, find one thing to do for God locally at your church or in some way serving Him in the community, and then do it to the best of your ability. I'd rather people serve in just one area and put in the time in that and do it well than try to spread themselves out into so many areas that sometimes we feel overwhelmed. But we do need to be willing to give time. Often we find time for everything else but serving the Lord. And yet, the only way that the church can impact the community is for each one of us to give of our time in serving God wherever He leads us. But it also does mean giving financially. You read about that in the New Testament. Churches were encouraged to give to God's work. There are, fortunately, if you want to use a phrase, there is, I should say, a business side to church. But it's more than paying bills, salaries. It's about investing in God's kingdom. We give so we can reach out. We give so we can promote and further God's kingdom. So what does the OCC discipleship process look like? Well, as you see here, there's the on-ramp to spiritual growth. Then begins that continual process that we go through in our lives of growing in our faith, serving the Lord and others, sharing the good news of Jesus with others and telling them about what He's done in our life, and then investing in others' lives and investing in serving the Lord and giving to God's work. And it is something we keep doing. It is continual. The goal, again, is to help us all to be more like Jesus. And so that's what Oak Ridge is about in a nutshell. And I appreciate you taking the time to get a better understanding of what we are and who we are. Thanks for being with me.